Listen. Hello everyone. Here I am again reading an email from our researcher who highlights from another angle what he sees going on at the hovel with the one and only Bosshog. It covers a bit of ground, but interestingly it hits home at the end. Hang in there. The title is Fish Farmer or Fish Failure, and it goes like this. Brian, you've been playing and failing at fish farming for well over 2 years now, and you seem more clueless now than when you first started. When you first came up with the get-rich-quick plan to start the soon-failed fish pen in the bay, you got the kind donors to fund the building of the pen, and then later the stocking of it. You were talking at the time like some sort of expert, as you do, and it seems you knew what you were talking about. Yes, inevitably, we later came to realise that that was bullshit, and a completely different story was the fact. As time went on, out in the bay, it became very clear that it was Gabriel who was the expert, the man who you gave your phony title of Tin Pot manager to. Gabriel was the man who had all the know-how and brains of the operation out there. Time went on, and to cut the story short, you did your usual thing and picked his brains dry on every aspect. Then later you again did your usual and destroyed the relationship with Gabriel by continually undermining him and slagging him off behind his back in public when you got all you wanted from him. You then ditched him, because the Tin Pot alpha male even then thought you knew it all, didn't you, Brian? It turned out you were just a fake dimwit fish farmer. You were a complete flop. You wasted all that donor money and all the resources, along with everyone's time, with your utter failure. We then had the dilapidated off-site fish pond and your shrimp fiasco to follow. Another chance to showcase to the people of the world your fish farming skills, or lack of in this instance, eh, Brian? Along comes more donor funds and the pond gets titivated up, and you say repaired all the leaks and then stocked it up. On not one occasion, but two, wasn't it, Brian? Because the first one failed miserably. What with all the local thieves stealing the fish, and of course the leaks, didn't it, Brian? We then go into the second stocking of the pond with 1 million leaks, and the dodgy lock gates. To cut a long story short again, the second harvest comes around, and just remember, it was something like 4 to 6 months of time and effort invested in all here. Anyway, the second harvest, I must say that combining the two harvests would not have filled my shopping bags on a Monday morning. Well, not much more anyway. But we must add here your deplorable treatment of poor Linda, the watchman, and her family. As usual, in real time, you could never find a good word for her, could you, Brian? And the robbing of her you attempted to get away with was utterly reprehensible. Calculated trick of yours, held up your sleeve for the final day, wasn't it, Brian? Anyway, another couple of disastrous donor cash-wasting failures that were sent and flushed down the Swanee, and all the time that was wasted went down the pan along with it too. You're clearly showing the buffoon that you really are now, aren't you, Brian? No worries, we are getting nearer to the point, and it's now the last few weeks. We are now at the pond that's been confirmed as outside your back door at the hovel, on site anyway. You told us there were 10,000 fish in this pond. The day arrives when you get the camera out, as you do, and perch yourself on the edge of this pond. You wasted no time in telling us that 8,000 of the 10,000 fish has been stolen from this pond. You then point the camera up, and just like in the Hollywood movies, at the moment, the culprit bird was flying over, and you tell us, there's the thief. You then go on to inform us that neighbours, friends, ex-employees and even local dogs had stolen the 8,000 fish. And in the middle of all this, you cleverly throw in you want to build a new house for Tatai, with the hint, when I have the budget. This is to be in sight of the ponds, so Tatai can keep his eye out and catch the thieves. A week passes, and donations are arriving, and the new house build has started. In the excitement, you wasted no time, and immediately, in front of the camera, for all to witness, you blatantly encouraged Gina to e-beg more funds and do her part for the build. Anyway, enough of that, it's disgusting, but it's all there on videos if you look. Astonishingly, the following week, you then go on to inform us that all of the 10,000 fish are still in the pond, and there were no thieves. Yes, that's right, no thieves. But the house is continuing and still drawing donations. No surprises from the bohobble bullshitter bums there, eh, Brian? Now today I see you're at it again. Brian. Fish are dying in numbers from what seems like a lack of oxygen in the water, and probably too much ammonia also, which is a deadly killer of fish in itself. As you are the expert, Brian, how is it that you cannot foresee and be prepared for a critical situation such as this arising? Being a farmer, you should have an inbuilt natural care for all livestock, and that does not mean sitting back counting dead fish or any farm animals on a daily basis without any possible immediate action or medication. Wouldn't you agree, Brian? Maybe you are allowing this to happen as a start of another ploy to campaign for quick e-begging funds to roll in, because you seem eager for a count when you asked Tatai, how many dead did you pick up today, Tatai? As you did. Can't you see the state of the ponds and the surroundings that we see from out here? There is garbage laying around everywhere. You focus your camera. The place looks like a rubbish tip. The water in the pond looks like what I have seen in the sewage works. There is no decent aeration going on at all there, from what is visible to me. You like to put over that you are the expert, Brian, but as little as I do know and believe it's common knowledge that fish will suffocate in water with a lack of oxygen. And that seems like a problem that has not been addressed as correctly as it should be, especially with you on hand there, and it's supposed to be your business running for a profit, isn't it, Brian? We know you can hide the size of your harvest with deceiving camera shots or no camera shots at all, as we have witnessed at the fish pen and the offsite Linda Pond. And you can then still preach fail. But listen on, because this paragraph or so is very interesting. I am now completely convinced that you work very hard to maintain this 100% failure record that you have remarkably achieved, Brian. I say this because as I have followed your every move for over 3 years, I became fed up in the past, hoping, almost praying that you will succeed at a project, but you never did, or have not even once. I then woke up to the fact and realised that I had been such an ass of a fool, and the penny dropped. It's always been so lucrative and donor profitable for you to fail at your projects, I realised. Yes, I realised that if you ever did have one success in a project, then of course it would bring you no donations or any grounds for your usual failure beg fest whatsoever, would it, Brian? Do you understand my reasoning? In fact, my logic? Don't you think that these 100% loser performances of yours, Brian, are wearing a bit thin now? Your pocket-filling donors are starting to wake up and catching up on you. Yes, becoming more than a little tired of your regular smoothie e-begging hints, and the donors are slowing down and the numbers are dwindling, aren't they, Brian? You seem to sit there all laid back, smart and so smug because it's been working so well and so long for you. Inevitably, pretty soon, your scheming and e-begging malarkey is going to rebound and go nowhere at all for you. There's only so many times you can go to the well before it dries up. What will you do then, Brian? Thank you for your time and listening to this fine, in-depth email. Please comment and subscribe. Thank you again. Adios, amigos.